Welcome or welcome back to Watts the Obsession True Crime. In this video, we are going to listen to Chris Watts being interviewed from prison, talking about how he met his mistress, Nichole Kessinger, their relationship, what they did during the course of his affair with her, and also how he met his wife and his relationship with his wife. We're going to compare this with excerpts from Nichole Kessinger's interviews to see what each of them had to say about their relationship, and also we will compare what he says to evidence known about this case.
Or was it a two-thing? No, there may have been others. So Nichole was the only one?
I was the only one.
Was there ever like a one-night stand with someone else just out of the blue and one and done?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you mind to talk a little bit more about Nichole? So walk me through it, because that was one of the things we never really got to ask you about.
Right, we didn't talk.
Kind of kicked on and talked about where the girls were, but so what happened there?
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that, were out in the field. And I was messing up, and then, I took it to her like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? And, after that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office.
And believe it or not, this is a very similar account that Nichole Kessinger had about when she and Chris Watts met that she told investigators during her interview.
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other?
I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry gas monitor sensors for toxic gases, and it's my job to control the inventory, any issues, anything like that. And we were having some pretty serious equipment issues, and we had numerous amounts of people coming in my office one day, and he happened to be one of them. And I'd seen him before, they meet in the lunchroom, and that's where I go put my lunch in the fridge. So I'd seen him, but I didn't ever talk to him. So that day we just started talking, and then every time I saw him in the hallway after that, and it was always hit or miss, it wasn't an everyday thing, it was just when I saw him, we just started talking, and we just kind of had a lot in common and just hit it off.
I think it was probably the fourth time meeting. She had asked me, because when we were talking back and forth, I would say, we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that. And then she was like, what's all this weed stuff? I took out my phone, showed her a picture, my girl's on the phone. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't wear a ring at work because I sent it off so I get refitted after I lost all that weight. So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
yeah, it was literally I was out in the snow one time. I went like that. Ring went off on the rocks. So I was panicking, trying to find out I can't wear this anymore. But so after that, she left me alone for a couple days, and she texted me outside the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth, and it was just she used to work in a little rig out in North Dakota, I think, and we just kind of trading stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And then one day, it just kind of went to a different level, and then I never thought it would ever go to that level, but she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. We were in San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June, and we met up after we got back. And
How did you guys meet up?
At a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And after that, we just kept seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
So let me ask you this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You strike me as somewhat of a shy person. So when you guys were meeting, it was just kind of very initiatory, flirting at first? Okay. From both sides?
Yeah. It was just kind of feeling each other out. It was kind of
Yeah. And so, text, any calls?
More near the end of June.
Okay. And what makes you remember that it's June, that it happened?
Because we called each other before I left to go to San Diego.
Chris and Shanann Watts went on a trip to San Diego through the company she worked for, Lavelle, and they returned on June 26, 2018. Chris says he was talking to Nichole before they went on this trip. These are some pictures that Shanann posted on Facebook from that trip to San Diego. And as far as Shanann knew, everything was going fine in their marriage.
Everybody, so I wanted to show you guys our room. We have a really pretty room. San Diego's gorgeous so far. Really, really pretty.
As kids, and then mentioned, yes, that I have a wife, but we're getting separated. I said, okay. And then
When do you think that was?
when he said all that,
So specifically when he told you he was getting separated from his wife, was that within the first couple of weeks that you knew him, or was that later on? You said you met him around May or June.
yeah, it was still in June.
Okay.
It would have been before Father's Day.
So had you guys ever gone out on any kind of
No.
date at that time? You just
No,
were
no.
conversing at work?
Yeah, that's all it was.
Are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married?
Yeah,
What did you think about that?
It was like just trying to save face, trying to, I was just trying to. And some of my sister said it was like just trying to keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying. She phrased it a different way, but just kind of like just like ground control, just trying to control everything that's going on around her. Because I'm sure she got bombarded by all kind of different sides from the media and everything. So. And
Have you talked to her at all? No.
I'm hoping she hasn't written me in a different alias or something. No, I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh.
And are you not allowed to talk to her?
I would hope not.
Okay. No one told you that then?
No, I mean I would expect I thought like in Colorado it said like on a DOC list that if you're on like a victim list you can't call anybody.
Oh, right.
But here I'm not sure if that's the same. But I just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once just to
Just get some closure?
say like, hey, just once.
Yeah.
Say like, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure like what happened like afterwards, like what you went through, like if you had like counseling, if you're like, different state, if you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry and that something I never saw in my life happening or happening to somebody else.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
Do you want us to? Do you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, then I'm not sure if she'll contact me. I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to call. Answer. Yeah.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. And they left a business card there. And she just pretty much after like the 5th attempt, she said stop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting bombarded like everyone else, so.
Hopefully it's calmed down since, but I'm sure I just hope she can I'm not there's normalcy for her, not since she's on the outside, but I'm hoping it can get that way at some point. I'm not sure if she had to leave Colorado or not, but I'm surely that would have been hard if she did.
Mm-hmm.
I know Anadarko was her dream job, so that's one thing I always asked my attorneys is did she have to leave? Did she have to do anything at work? Because that was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So,
Oh, really? Yeah. Where does she mean?
in the oil company in Anadarko is unless you work for BP or company Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Anadarko's in
Looks like big leagues.
yeah.
And well, we can confirm that Nichole Kessinger said she was at her dream job at Anadarko because during the almost 12 hours of recorded interview that we have of her being interviewed by law enforcement, she expresses literally zero remorse or even sincere sadness for the fact that Shanann, Bella Celeste, and unborn baby Nico were murdered by her boyfriend, perhaps with her help. We don't know. But she does express a great deal of sadness and loss over her dream job that she got fired from. Listen to this.
I was thinking about reaching out to some old employers. I've always been a really good employee to those people. Everybody when I leave is pretty disappointed. This is the first time I've ever been terminated from a job. So,
Sometimes that can be tough to get over too.
it's hard. This was like the dream job. I feel awful about all of this. Like, I wanted that for so long to get out of the oil field. I was so tired of living on oil rigs because it's such a rough life. It's like, I just want to be in the office and work in environmental for an oil company, and I finally got it, and all this happened.
Well, you have that skill set now, so maybe you can move back into
I
that.
hope so. We will see. I forgot what else I was going to ask. Are you guys... Am I in trouble because I deleted his text?
You're not in trouble.
I didn't know what was going on at that point.
So, I know does that cause question?
Of course it
does. There is, but is it criminal? No. Is there concern that you're hiding something? Potentially. That's why I want them, or I wouldn't be asking for them.
Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her. Okay. Tell us about the time you spent with her.
Well, I mean, it felt like it was, I think like when you said like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue. Because like when me and Shanann met, it was like she was always like pushing me away, kind of like
She was sick for a while, right?
Oh yeah, she was she had just got diagnosed with lupus, and she was on like a bunch of different medications and stuff, and it was like I guess I wasn't her type. And
you weren't her type.
I wasn't her type because like she told me like when she first, because we had met.
She told you that? Yeah. You're not.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was like when we first met, like was at a movie theater, and my cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I didn't.
I think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know like that.
They wouldn't have any games.
So she was fancy, and you were in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
I should have known the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. And like when
You know the theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
it was in Charlotte, it was called the Epicenter. And apparently, they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he came like he was going to a
Like I was
Cinemax, like
I was going to a pond.
like AMC.
White theater.
No, it was like you just watch the normal movie, but like you can like drink champagne and like have like a Jack and Coke inside the theater and just sit there and whatever. But like yeah, it's when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. No, I'm not here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on the first day, like I couldn't even eat anything. Really, I was just like,
Just so nervous?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. She was just like chowing down, and she was like, you eat like a bird. I'm like,
That's funny.
and she talked to my parents like months later. She was like, this guy just never ate. He's like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. This trash disposal. I was like, no, that was not around me. I was like, well, I was nervous. I was just like, I was always like shaking and everything. But yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like finally I grew onto her. Like I'm always like with her medications and stuff. I would always like she had like 8 bottles of medication, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little flip open
The box.
all that kind of stuff. And I would always be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. And she said after that she knew I was like kind of a keeper. It's like who goes to a colonoscopy after 3 months with somebody?
Right.
That's a little soon.
But she asked if she needed a ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go across my colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Like even sat with her while she drank that nasty stuff all day.
Yeah.
Oh. Or she's in the bathroom all day.
Yeah.
like clear stuff that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kessinger?
No, with
No,
Tom Elfston and like the first year, my parents never. I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
What?
I was the baby, I guess. I never, because I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never like really saw me like
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because when I turned 18, I graduated. I never moved back
Okay.
at home. So
And
my
how
sister moved back and forth all the time. So
How old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So
Okay.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
nothing more than like 6 months or so. Yeah, there was some girls here and there, but just nothing more than like the last girlfriend I had before Shanann, she was just actually got divorced, and I should never did that. But it was more of like I was kind of like helping her get through her divorce. It seemed like she went on to somebody else. I'm like, oh, nice to know.
You're the rebound guy?
The rebound guy.
Pretty much, but that's how it goes.
Would you say that in your relationships with women, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems to me like you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type.
Yeah.
And like, Stan usually made all the decisions. It seemed like so.
I get that. I'm saying, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So then, and I know it's hard to keep bouncing back and forth, but and one of the reasons we're here is we just keep telling ourselves, Grace just does not fit the mold. Grace does not.
no.
Like it just blows us away what happened, right? And so we will do a little bit of bouncing back and forth, and that's really just to get to know you a little bit better. Because we never really got that chance, did we?
Pretty much twice.
Yeah.
Met you once.
Yeah.
Probably like three. Well, you remember 3 or 4 times probably.
So then do you call her Nikki or Nichole Kessinger?
I would call her Nikki.
Okay.
I know. There's so many Nikki's and Nicoles in this.
Right. There is.
That I got confused.
So we'll call her Nikki. So then with Nikki, was it different?
It just seemed like I was more in control, it seemed like. And that never happened. Like she'd actually like asked me like my opinion on a lot of things, and just like what I wanted to do, and just kind of like, okay.
That was new, wasn't it?
Very new.
It's fascinating to me. And so did it feel more like an equal partnership or?
It seemed like it.
Yeah. Okay. So then when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere, or would she say, I want to go somewhere?
Date nights. So Chris Watts doesn't specifically talk about going to the Lazy Dog on a date with Nichole Kessinger on August 11th, less than 2 days before his family was murdered, in this portion of the interview. But he does later in this interview talk about it in a roundabout way. He says that he wishes that he had done something different on that Saturday night. On that Saturday night when he and Nichole went to Lazy Dog shortly before his family was murdered. And if he had done something different, namely go to a Broncos game with his friend Jeremy, who invited him to the Broncos game that night, that things may have turned out differently, that a light would have gone on in his head, or a light would have gone on in her head, and things would have been different. So what the heck did he mean by that? To me, that's a clear indicator that something significant happened at the Lazy Dog on that night. And when Nichole Kessinger in her interviews is asked about the Lazy Dog, she, in different interviews, gives totally conflicting stories regarding what they talked about, because just like the 111-minute phone conversation, neither of them is ever going to tell anyone what they really spoke about during that time.
Saturday, during your dinner, what kind of conversation did you guys have?
I don't even remember. So he's been trying to like eat a little healthier than he normally does, and he's always like been in the working out since I knew him, and he like tries to eat clean, but he was trying to like step it up a little bit, and nothing like the people who do like the competitions and the shows.
Oh boy.
What kind of conversation did you guys have?
I don't even remember.
Okay, that was her interview from August 16th. Now listen to what she says in her final recorded interview on August 26th.
So, I mean, I started thinking, okay, well, I know in Colorado houses sell very fast here. So I was like, what's your plan? You know, and I was like, because you might want to be prepared. And I remember that's when the whole concept came up of, you probably need to start looking for a new place pretty quick. And that was when he was kind of overwhelmed with it. And I told him, I was like, look, like I just moved a few months ago. And I was like, to find a place that was comfortable for me, it was like, it took like a lot of research. And that's when I offered to help. I was like, I'll help you. And I was putting in work on it. And I was like calling him and kind of letting him know about places. And there really wasn't that many options in Brighton. I found one. I actually texted it to myself before I texted it to him because I still have that in my phone too. Because I found it and it was great, but it was like right at the beginning of my search.
You said a week. You think you worked on that for a week?
No, I honestly only probably spent like a few hours over a few days and just trying to like line it up.
Just trying to think about how many days she had been back while you were working on that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So you said, did you actually work on it for a week straight?
No. Okay. It was just like a couple days after work. I would just like spend a couple hours if I had time, like at the end of my day, or if I didn't go to the gym, and just sit down. And I mean, I can give you a date on one that I worked on because I texted that one to myself. This one, I loved this one. When is this? Saturday, August 11th.
That's the night you guys went out?
Yeah.
To the lazy dog.
Yes.
Or the two lazy dogs.
I think Nichole Kessinger just can't help but to tell Kevin Kobach about herself and how helpful she was and how she was so good at doing research into finding Chris Watts' new apartment, how much she wanted to help him. She's such a benevolent person, you know, and she also was really excited about this. Even though things have completely gone sideways, I think she just can't help but to talk about this. But I do not think that she wanted to reveal that that was a topic of conversation on their date on Saturday night, August 11th. So listen to how the tone changes when she's, it's August 11th. And he asks, is that the lazy dog date night? Eh?
I can give you a date on one that I worked on because I texted that one to myself. This one, I loved this one. When is this? Saturday, August 11th.
That's the night you guys went out?
Yeah.
To the lazy dog.
Yes.
Or the two lazy dogs.
Okay, so let's make our way back to Chris Watts' interview from prison on February 18th, 2019, when he talks about their dates.
You know, the first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, about the 144th over there, and you know, I asked her, like, hey, you want to go see this movie? And like, she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And we got there, it was sold out. And, you know, normally I'd probably just have, just wait 2 hours, like, just go home. But now she just wanted to walk around and just talk. I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
So that was different. And, I think she wanted to go to the car museum, Shelby Museum in Boulder. I've never been there. And
That's right up your alley. So
I was just like, that was awesome, just to walk around cars for like an hour or so.
Okay, so in her phone interview from August 21st, 2018, there were 2 phone interviews with Kevin Kobach. Nichole Kessinger talks about all of her dates. Here's what she says about the car museum.
It was either the 6th of July or the 7th of July.
Okay.
I was looking at the wrong one.
So Sunday the 6th? Pardon me.
No, I think, because that's what I'm saying, I didn't think it was a Sunday. So it was either Friday the 6th
okay.
or Saturday the 7th of July. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong calendar. So because I remember that was like our first outing. That was like our first date, and it was the weekend right after my birthday week.
Okay.
So it had to have been, either probably the 6th or the 7th. And then we didn't go anywhere again until the next weekend. And that weekend, on Saturday the 14th, that's the day that I went to his house, we went up to Boulder, and we went to the Shelby Mustang Museum. So this was July 14th.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went up there, took a tour, and then after that, we left. And
do you remember what time that would have been?
That we left?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, what time do you think you got to the museum?
Oh, God. I don't even remember.
Morning, afternoon, night?
I think it was pretty, like, a decent time in the morning. I bet you we got there at, like, 11 or so, because I remember it took us probably, like, an hour and a half to walk through it. I think it's a small museum. And then after that, we were going to go to lunch in Boulder, and then we decided not to. And then we went to his house, and I dropped him off, because I had picked him up to go to the museum. So I dropped him off at...
You're driving your 4Runner?
Yeah, we drove my 4Runner all the time. I told you I was only in his vehicle one time, and I think it was like so he could go get gas or something. Like everything, all of these adventures were all done in my truck.
Okay.
So then we went to his house, and we were over there for a little while, but then I was just like, I don't really want to be here, so I left, and I left him there. He didn't go with me.
At his home?
Yeah, like I left him there.
Okay.
And I left by myself. And
yeah, so you probably hear that edge in her voice. I left him there. He didn't go with me. Every time she was at the Watts house, at least, well, the times that she talks about, she leaves in a fit because, well, she didn't want him to have a family, and she was pressuring him to not have a family. There's only so many ways one can achieve that.
And then, drag race in Vandermeer.
Okay.
I haven't been to a drag race since 2008. And that was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Like that was the main drag strip over there. That's like the NHRA, the Top Fuel and Fun Car stuff. Like me and my dad used to grow up.
Yeah.
Go there like all the time.
Kessinger also talks about going to the Vandermeer Speedway. Now, keep in mind that all of these dates were her idea. The car museum, Chris went to school to be a mechanic, and his goal was to be on the NASCAR pit crew, right? So Nichole Kessinger clearly knew all of this stuff about him. Like, he's like, oh, I went to the races like I used to go to with my dad. So he's dating this girl. It's a new relationship. She's like, oh, I know. Let's go to the Vandermeer Speedway. Right?
And I left by myself. And then the weekend of the 21st, and this is how you'll know if my dates are lined up. I would base it off of this date and work your way backwards. But this weekend I went to Vandermeer Speedway with him, and I went and saw, I think it was called the Mopar Mile High National.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been called Thunder on the Mountain. I don't know. It was the drag races, though. And it was Saturday the 21st.
Okay.
And we were there, like, the majority of the day. I think we got there, like, early afternoon, and we were there till it ended, pretty much.
Was that late in the evening?
Yeah, those things go pretty late. Like, it gets dark.
Okay.
And then, went camping in Sand Dunes National Park, and I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it. Thought she'd done it like countless times.
Oh, really? Okay. She's outdoorsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she every time she needed to clear her head, she'd just go by herself. Just go somewhere.
Oh. Yeah. But she's a completely new type of person and relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Watts talks about going to the sand dunes, and Nichole Kessinger talks about that too in the phone interview. Before we get to that, I just want to point out that, when Kobach says, Graham Coder, big difference between the two interviewers. Graham Coder, I think a very good interviewer. Kobach, not so much. When Graham Coder says, oh, so she was like a totally different kind of person then, right? You're going to notice how it causes the conversation to totally shift directions. I think Chris Watts would have told them about all of his dates and their completeness, at least what he was going to reveal on that day. But during that interview, while Chris Watts was in prison, the interviewers kept doing things to change the direction of the conversation when Chris Watts was talking very openly. I know a lot of you have noticed that, and I'm just saying, that's all. I'm just saying, because every time I listen to that interview or a part of it, it just irritates me. It's like, dude, let the man talk. He may have revealed some information that we all want to know. Now, I just want to say that Nichole Kessinger goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on about their trip to the sand dunes, and I'm going to play that in its entirety, and the reason is this. I think something happened on that trip that they are really trying to hide. Now, remember, the sand dunes trip was on July 28th, all right? It was July 31st that Chris Watts got on that plane and joined his family in North Carolina for a week. So, you know, the stakes were high. Things were getting real. D-Day, the day that his family was returning to Colorado, it was soon approaching. And I want you to be able to hear the entirety of what she says in this interview about the sand dunes. Please comment down below. Let me know what you hear. What do you think happened at the sand dunes?
With you guys on any of these dates, or is it just you two?
It's just us.
Okay. Did you have meals anywhere after you left there? Did you stop at any bars or anything?
Okay, so that day, I'm glad you brought that up. Prior to going to Bandamere, we went to, what is the name of that little town? It's not Evergreen. It's like in between Lakewood and Morrison.
Morrison,
We went to
okay.
Morrison. And there's a patio bar there. I do not know what it is called. It's on top of an Italian pizza place. I think it's literally called like the Morrison Grill or Morrison Patio Bar, like something real simple. And we went, it's just like a rooftop bar.
And you went before the drag races?
Yeah, we went before the drag races.
Okay.
And we hung out there probably for a while. I think we were there for a little while. We ate there. So that's where we got
So
food.
you ate lunch there?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Tacos.
Okay.
This is a really good bar, by the way. Yeah, so we did that, and then we went to Bandamere, and then I don't know what we did after Bandamere. I think we just went to my house. I'm almost positive. Like, I don't think we did anything after that, because it was pretty late.
Okay.
And then on the weekend of July 28th through the 29th, we went to the sand dunes. We went to the Great Sand Dunes National Park.
Down in Alamosa?
Yes.
July 28th, 29th. Did you guys stay anywhere?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Where did you stay?
Oh, we camped.
Okay.
We camped. I don't remember the name of the campsite, but if you, like, just let me go through probably, like, my old phone nav or, like, go through just the internet and try to look up campsites, I can probably come up with the name for you.
Well, let me ask you this. There was some attachments that when I was looking at some of your phone stuff today, although very limited, there's a man with a backpack. He's got a beard. He does not look like Chris to me in your photos. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, is he like a little heavier set?
Yeah, I'd say he's a little bit bigger.
Yes, that is my friend Jim. That is the one that I was with on the Monday and Tuesday of last week.
Okay. So there is some photographs. You mentioned the museum, the car museum. I think I remember seeing a couple photos of cars, and it didn't strike me as anything then. So there may be a little bit more on your phone than what I think. But there is definitely no photos of Chris. And I don't remember seeing any pictures of the sand dunes. But so did you camp inside the national park there?
No, it was outside. I think we camped at Zapata Falls. I think that's the name of the campsite.
Yep, Zapata Falls.
Zapata Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's before
Zapata.
you come to you turn off 160 and you're going towards the sand dunes, and then you turn off and kind of go up a 4-wheel drive road to Zapata Falls.
Yeah, that was like really gnarly one with all the switchbacks
Yep.
and the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There. And so we camped there.
Was it like an established campground, or was it just dry camping?
No, it was an established campground. There's a campground up there. Like, you hang that left to go to the Zapata Falls Trail, and then you go right, and there's like a big campground loop.
Okay. So that's where you guys were there.
Yep.
All right. Keep going.
And then we went to the sand dunes. Not the first day, so we got there fairly late on. How did I do that? How did we do? No, that's right. So I need to think about this. I really need to think about this. Saturday, we got there, we set up camp, and then after we set up camp, we went to the national park.
So you went and hiked the sand dunes?
Yeah, we tried, and I just remember it was super windy. Oh my God, the sand hurt so bad. It started raining. And we stayed even though the weather was bad, because there was like nobody up there. And so we did that for most of the afternoon, and then we came back to the campsite, and I showed him how to light a fire, because he'd never done it before.
He'd never lit a fire?
No, he's never been camping before. He told me he'd never been camping before, and I was like, well, if you want to go, I'm trying to go to the sand dunes, so that's why we went, because he said he'd never done it.
Okay.
So
did you guys visit any, there's not really very much stuff around there. There's no restaurants or anything in that area?
No.
So
we did stop at I think it's called like the Oasis or something. It's like this little, it's like on the way to the dunes. It's not in the park, but it's like on that road that you take to get to the dunes. And it's almost like a little gas station. And we stopped there and we rented a sandboard to go sandboarding on. And I think we got more ice for the cooler, and we got firewood.
So it's like a gas station?
Kind of, but it's like the one-stop shop that everybody goes to, because there's like nothing else around there.
Right.
Like I'm almost positive it's called the Oasis, and they actually have their own campground back there too. But
okay,
it's like
I know
on that road.
Mm-hmm. It's right before you get to the entrance to the park.
Yep. Okay. On the right-hand side when you're driving in. I'm glad that you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I worked in Southern Colorado for the last 5 years, and I spent a lot of time around Alamosa and in the San Luis Valley. So I know a lot about that area, unfortunately. So I know what you're talking about.
That's good. That helps me.
So you got ice and firewood.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we got ice. I think we did, just because I like to re-up on ice every time I go camping. Who paid for it? He did.
Okay. Did you think he used the debit or the gift card again?
Probably, because that was the plan in the first place. He was just like, well, hey, I've got these gift cards. If you want to use them, you don't even have to spend any money, and we can just use these. And I was like, well, that's great. So I remember for the trip, I filled up my gas tank, and I paid for gas, and I bought a little bit of groceries for the cooler. And then he took care of, like, the campsite and the board and the firewood and all of that.
Okay.
Like, I didn't actually go into that Oasis place, I don't think. I'm almost positive I didn't go in there. He did. I got in line for the board. I remember that. But their like, little board rental shop is, like, outside of the building.
Okay.
So he went inside, because he went and got firewood. And then we went to the dunes.
I'm just looking at your dates, so you know you're right. The Bandimere Speedway, the Mile High Nationals, was July 21st.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I was going to say. Get online and see if that matches.
Yep, it does.
Okay,
so
then
good.
all those other dates should be good. The only one that I'm not 100% sure about is the movie. It was that weekend, movie on the 6th and the 7th. It was that weekend. I just don't remember what day of the weekend. I don't think it was a Sunday, though. I really think it was a Friday or a Saturday. Like, I'm almost positive I didn't have to work in the morning.
All right. So what's after the Great Sand Dunes?
Okay, so we went to the dunes, and then we went and returned the board, and then we went back to the campsite, and we lit a fire, and we ate, And we just hung out by the fire for a few hours and just visited, and then it started raining really hard. So we put everything in the tent and put out the fire, and we went in the tent, and I remember he was like wide awake, and I was so tired, like, oh my God, I wanted to sleep so bad, and he just like would not sleep, and it was kind of bugging me. Like I would like almost like wake up and like half subconsciously like have a conversation with him for a sec, and then like doze back off. And I just remember being so tired, and he was up probably for a while.
Okay. And
then
so you guys come back to the Denver metro area on Sunday?
Kind of. Yeah, but we went, one of my friends wanted us to go to the Renaissance Festival, and she didn't know who I was with, but she was just like, at the Renaissance Festival in Colorado Springs, and she was like, oh, you should stop by, and I made up an excuse to not go over there. I just told her, I was like, yeah, I don't really know, and I, like, kind of got out of it because I didn't want her to meet him.
And do remember, it was that same friend, this is Charlotte Nelson, who she's referring to. She reveals that in a different interview, that she didn't want to meet Chris. And it was Charlotte Nelson, that same best friend, that exactly 2 weeks later, on August 12th, 2018, just hours before the murders, she has an extensive text exchange with all about Chris Watts. And it's clear from that exchange that this is the first time that she told her very best friend in the whole world about Chris Watts. Interesting, isn't it? If you're more interested in learning about that, I recently put out 2 videos. There's a part 1 and part 2 about the 24 hours before the murders, and you can learn all about that and so much more by watching those videos. So let's get back to continuation of Chris Watts in his jailhouse interview.
All right. What were you thinking this whole time? Like,
in the back of my head, I was telling myself, what are you doing? Like, every time, I open up my phone, I can see pictures, like, of my wife and my kids. I'm just like, what am I doing? And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like a blinder that was on my face.
Oh.
And it was, like, every time I look back on it, like, like, I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself. And, like, every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say, like I have, like, this book I used to read for Cece, and I remember that book, so I read that to them, like, every night. And, like, there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them, so I just try to think back, like, I wish this never happened. I was just like, I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, wasn't in my eyes, that would have seen what was going on. Like, I was everybody said, oh, you're just out there having fun while your kids, or kids and wife are on vacation. I'm just like, no, it wasn't like that, but it seemed like that's what it looked like when you're going, you're going to camping, going to drag race, going all this other stuff that you have fun doing, but you're with somebody else. It's not your family. It just didn't seem right. And, with her, it just didn't seem like I could even see that anymore. I was there at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about anything. Because literally I didn't, I was only at home from when I got home from work. I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over to her house. I never slept in my house. The whole month of July.
Now, talking through that though, when you said you went home and then you were at her house, was that while Shanann was gone? Oh, okay. So you weren't even at your house?
No.
This all happened so quickly, didn't it?
It was insane quickly. I didn't, she even told me, she would never, in a normal relationship, she would never have somebody over at her house, more than, once or twice a week, but she felt like she wanted me over there.
Yeah.
She said she felt comfortable over there.
Yeah.
So it's that's what was different, she wanted me over there. But
Oh, she wanted Chris Watts over there in her apartment, in her world, more than anything else in the world. And I bet you agree with me on that. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. I read all of your comments. I love hearing your feedback, and I appreciate the heck out of you. See you next time.